He's opening up.
Yeah. And even his doctor, the last time we went, well, the first time we went, the doctor started going into, well, this didn't work. I tried to tell you this might not work, and of course Steve said that wasn't true, and then he went into this whole ordeal of, you know, you got to realize how old you're getting. You know, your arms are going to start giving out now too. And
Who told? No, wait a minute. Who's telling him that?
The doctor is. And so by this time, I'm like, we need
Does he
to get
believe?
away from him.
Does he believe the doctor?
He believes everything doctors say. If the doctor says it, it's so. So this time, whenever the doctor saw the x-rays and he knows he can't do anything else, is what he says. This time, we go, he doesn't even x-ray him. The doctor doesn't. And the doctor has a whole new attitude. So he sits down and he starts to say, well, just tell me your whole story. So Steve starts to go into...
Now, is this your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been sitting in this chair, you know, since he was 23 years old, and he's had 13 broken bones.
Oh my
and
gosh.
a concussion, and all. He's going into all these different things, and then the doctor literally puts his hand on his knee, because I kept, this whole week I've been, before we went, it's like, can you just get that doctor to tell him whatever he needs to hear to get going on this? And so he puts his hand on his knee and he goes, you know what? He says, I've done a lot of surgeries and stuff, but he said, you have healed all those things. All I can tell you is I'm not supposed to help you. You're supposed to help yourself.
Yes.
So I'm like, what did I just do?
The same doctor?
The same doctor.
So you turned that around. You
Good job.
Well, while he was talking,
Did you hear what she said before
Yeah.
that?
I was taking everything I could to just get up and not punch.
But see, well, you know that's not the right.
I know it's not, but
That's the wrong energy.
I know it is. But whenever he's sitting there and he's 60 years old himself,
Right.
and we're 62, and he's trying to tell us this is what doctors have told him his whole life, which is so irritating to me. It's like, you're supposed to be a healer. You're not supposed to tell someone when your arms are going to give out, your legs are...
Let me give you some... Are you done with... I want to answer
No, go
something.
on.
Well,
I need something, because I'm ready to just punch some of these
okay,
people.
okay. I've got a new YouTube I listen to of... so I guess we're starting now. Of my three favorites, and one of your favorites. It's Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, and Bruce Lipton. Now these are all these three are my, right now, in the last 5 years actually, probably. But Bruce Lipton was a medical professor, taught medical school for 20 years at University of Wisconsin, and then he went to Stanford. And he's talking about this on this new video. It says the three amigos because all three of them are taking turns answering and talking. Well, I don't remember how the subject came up, but Bruce went off about something. I mean, he said, but at the same time, he says, you got to listen to me. These doctors today have been programmed. They know nothing except what they were taught in medical school. So it's really not them. You can't see, most all doctors have a sincere heart. They want to do the right thing and get people healed, but they don't understand that what they do is obsolete. See, they don't get it yet, and
that's. They get it. They just don't know what to do about it.
No, really, they don't. Dr. Lipton said they don't. Well, I mean, there's some that now are starting. You know, there are many that are coming over, just like Dr. Lipton did. But what I'm talking about is the mainstream doctors we deal with most of the time. It's less than 5% of the doctors that are going to know anything more than what they've been taught in medical school. When I joined Shackley back 25 years ago, I heard a video or a recording by a guy that had been to medical school and said, do you know how much time we spent on nutrition in medical school? 5 minutes or 10 minutes in 8 years. So see, they're ignorant. And when I say that, you know what the word ignorant actually means? It doesn't mean you're stupid.
What's that?
Yeah, if you look at the first word, it's ignore. Ignorance means you've chosen to ignore knowledge. Like I'm ignorant of Spanish. I have chosen not to learn it. So it's not a put down. They just don't know. And they believe because they went to college and got trained, this is we're certified, this is how you do it, and this is the way it is in society. So anyway, he tries to take that away from you getting upset and angry at them and realizing they're only doing what they're programmed to do. And the system is not going to accept the new way. See, this is the thing we got to realize. Systems are not going to change. They're not going to change. They have to fall. Systems have to fall. And they fall by attrition. Do you know what attrition means? Eventually people quit going to them. It's not because they collapsed on their own necessarily or something happened. It just by attrition people will leave them and start going to people that can heal them. You know. But my thing is, let's get people to where they're healing themselves. See again, where are we focusing all our attention? Matter changing matter. You know, and you have more power in you.
Well, that's what I keep telling him.
Yes.
He's
Well,
got more
but
power
again,
than
you're fighting his programming.
No, I mean, what I'm trying to get him to recognize is you've been doing this for years. And then when the doctor told him that, he was like, yeah, I have been. I said,
Then he
"Same
realized
thing
it.
I told you before."
Then he realized it.
And then he's looking for a new family physician. And he went to this person in New Albany, and I was like, well, how was she? Because he said, I'm not going to a woman doctor. And I'm like,
Norris
I don't know who it is.
at Heimer's office.
She's there by Coles.
Oh.
And I don't know who it was. But whenever he came back, he said, I really like the way she thinks. She's just practical. She believes you should just take care of yourself. You know, she's not a whole lot of, because I said, well, how many tests did she talk to you about going to have done? He said, she did not recommend I do any tests. What is this? This is weird. And I'm like,
There you go.
I'm liking this person.
Well, to touch on that, a couple of years ago, was it 2 years ago whenever I went to Pop?
When you went where?
To Pop? Well, I went in there, and of course, you know, I was 38, 39, whatever, and I was just getting a checkup, just a general checkup for the insurance or whatever, and and to find a doctor, to have a doctor, because I hadn't had a doctor for like 3 years, and she's like, well, what are you on? You know, the little nurse girl was asking me all these questions. Well, what do you take? Well, what are you on? I was like, I'm telling you right now, I don't take nothing. And she was like, do what? I said, I don't take nothing. I don't wear glasses. And I said, I have no issues. I have no diseases. I'm not, you know, diabetic or anything. She's like, well, this will be easy. And then the doctor comes in and says, well, I got to go back over these questions, da-da-da-da-da. I just do what the other girl did. I said, I don't have none. The only thing I've ever had was kidney stones, and that's been over 10 years ago. And she's like, do what? She said, you're not on blood medication, heart pressure, you're not a diabetic, and this and that. I said, nope.
I'm not either, neither's Ronnie.
She's like, you're almost 40 years old. You're not on anything. No.
Well, I'm
I
amazed.
slipped through the system.
I'm amazed that they
At 40,
I was going to say I'm amazed that they think that about 40.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it is their goal to get everybody. Everybody.
Something.
Kids are on the ADD and ADHD
Oh, I know.
stuff.
I know.
You know,
I know what's going on.
20s are-
But I didn't know. But what I mean is though, the heart medicine and all that that early, the indication to me is also that's where our society is today. There are majority of the people on everything, and because they do have high blood. I'm not saying that they're taking stuff they don't necessarily. Well, I don't. I know there's other ways to get rid.
change things that they're.
All it does is mask the symptoms. It doesn't cure from the source. But anyway, yes, it's. Well, I mean, you know, I'm 65, and the doctor I go to, she said once in a while, she said, I just do it to get my blood tested, and like I don't get checkups. She just tests my blood because I like to confirm. I'm doing my own personal body experiment with all that Joe and these guys are teaching me. And I'm having tests for stuff to see, like the inflammation. I told you about that, didn't I? One time, about they measure the cytokine protein in your blood, and the level of inflammation is found by measuring that. And most people are around about, I don't know, 0.7 to 1, and if you get above 1, you're in a state of disease. You're not sick yet, but you are wide open to being sick. And mine's like 0.3, you know, and I'm 65, and she's just going, she said, I can't believe this. I said, I can't believe this. And I said, well, I know why, but you won't believe me if I tell you. You know, and if they measured my telomeres right now, I know what would happen. I know what they'd find. And I'm just saying I'm doing this. I'm not going to, but she says, well, who's your, what's it called? The doctor?
Health and nutrition.
Cardiologist.
No, who's the doctor you always go to all the time? They have a special name.
Physician.
Primary care. Who's your primary care? And I said, I don't have one. I haven't had one in 30 years. I don't go to the doctor. And so anyway, you know, and I haven't got any problems anywhere. You know, cholesterol, nothing, absolutely nothing. You know, and I told her, I said, I know why. You know, she says, well, you're like a 20-year-old. You know, you're like your stuff. And I said, well, and they treat me like an anomaly. They don't think there's a way to do it. You know what I mean by an anomaly?
That's all they know.
They think it's just an apparition,
You're lucky.
lucky, yeah. Okay. So anyway, I want to get into what I'm going to talk to you today, but one of the things that I wanted to share was from, we're actually going to do some meditation maybe. We're going to do something to get into see how we can get into it today. And I'm going to share a method with you that I learned. I'm trying to find different modes because I think we all can get there different ways. And meditation's not the only way. It's Joe's way, Dr. Dispenza's. And but there are many different ways to enter into that. But and now I lost my train of thought again because I was going to go somewhere else with that. What was I saying before the meditation thing? Do you remember?
You're going to show us something.
I was going to show you something.
There are many ways to get there. Meditating is Joe's way, but
Dang.
There's many ways to get there.
You're
Yeah, that's
talking
what
about your
that's-
medical stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to keep you from getting there. We need to get there.
He's got more to get out.
Well, anyway, one of the things they talked about, Greg Braden actually, he confirmed something that I hadn't heard, I had told you all, and I haven't heard him say before. But he got into and I don't remember why they even brought it up, but he got into the fact that he calls them neurites on the neurons are actually antennae that draw from the field. Remember I told you that? Mm-hmm. That your neurons are the antenna that draw from the quantum field, and he said it exactly the same. When I listened to it this week, it was like, oh my gosh. And then he got into the telomeres and the telomerase, which is a chemical that rebuilds your telomeres. Do you know that's only been discovered as recently as 2009? I didn't know that. They've just discovered this chemical, and the only way that your body increases that they've measured is when you're in your appreciation, thanksgiving, love, and compassion mode. And one guy named D. Ornish did a study with men that were having prostate problems, and he did this thing with them to where he got them in this meditative mode where they're feeling compassion, and they measured their telomeres increased 25%. They grew 25, and he says, do you know what that translates to? This was Joe saying after he talked. They increased their lifespan 25%. That means if they're 40, they added 10 years to their lifespan, regardless. See?
And you can
And
test those levels with a blood test?
yeah, well, there's a test for it, yeah. Yeah, and it's a genetic thing, and Joe and Bruce Lipton were confirming with him. Now here's what the cool thing Joe says, or Bruce goes into this because he's a gene guy. He's a genetics guy. So he got his chance to talk. He said, now I got to talk here. He says, this is my area. He said, what happens, your telomeres are like train tracks. Okay? And each time the gene reproduces makes another reproduction or cell to replenish and rebuild you, the track gets shorter. And the track gets shorter. And he says this is what causes aging. And they came up with the figure of how many times it shortens over time. That they figured out that you could live to 120 years. Well, what does the Bible say? Have you ever heard that in the Bible? It's in the Bible. That man is given 120 years. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's us in the Bible, that year thing. But then they go on to say, though, when you are living in this mode, the correct mode of loving and giving and service and thanksgiving and like what we've been talking about, there are 4 things that if you're doing living in these 3 things, you produce that chemical called telomerase. And it rebuilds your tracks again. It lengthens them back out. All right, I got to thinking about this. In the Bible, they called it, you know how they call it eternal life? The 2 words in the Bible. Well, I think I told you eternal doesn't mean eternal. I told you that, right? It means age during or eonal life. Life during the ages. It literally says that. I looked it up again yesterday. But the word life is Zoe, Z-O-E in the Greek. And it literally means to extend time. Are you getting what I'm talking about? The connection I made here with that? And the telomeres. Well, what did I just talk about what they're doing with the telomeres, see? So when you tap into what Jesus said he said, out of your innermost being will flow what? Anybody know that scripture? Rivers of living water. Every time you go into that kundalini or gamma state where the kundalini energy goes from here, it goes up through your vagus nerve, it goes up through your spinal column, then it goes up into your brain. When you're in this state, and that's how you produce it, is going into this loving, compassionate mode, you literally produce all these chemicals. The what's it called? Oxytocin? That, the immunoglobulin A, the telomerase. It's like he's naming all these he says, you are literally reproducing all these things and they're exploding into your body. I think, oh my gosh, from your innermost being comes rivers of living water. And so the eternal life in the Bible really means eonal age, during the age, life extension. Wow. Are you seeing the connection here? And I'm going, oh my gosh. So, remember how I'm always saying it's the Bible, all the stuff in the Bible is not for later. None of it is for later. The whole thing about the kingdom, all of it is now. It's absolutely now. And when Joe talks about getting into that state, and people are in a bliss state, remember that's the highest vibration on that chart? And that's how you get there. You're literally entering the kingdom of heaven, and you are drinking from the river of life. And it's the tree of life has fruit, but what is the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace. So see, that's the tree of life. That's the fruit from the... You're not going to go to some city when you die. That's a metaphor. It doesn't exist when you die. That's not this. The heaven that the Bible teaches does not exist after you die. It's all metaphor for now. And you can enter now, see. And it's as simple as what we're talking about. learning how to turn from the earthly you, connected, and turning with your conscious choice to the heavenly or the source. And all you have to do is say thanks. Think about it. You don't have to do anything.
Be appreciative.
Yes, that's all.
What you have.
And appreciation is the highest one according to them. Giving appreciation. Now, here's the concept that hit me the other day that I wanted to share with you all. And it's, you'll notice I'll repeat stuff, but don't you think that's good though?
Yes.
Okay. This got me excited again about, I started crying. You know, I thought I'd start thinking about my mother. You notice I think about my mother a lot. That's her over there in that picture. But let's think about this. How many mothers we got in here? 2? Okay. And if you're a parent, all right, I'm not a parent. I've never had a child either. But you tell me, is there anything you wouldn't do to take care of your child? Is there absolutely anything that would ever keep you from making sure your child was taken care of? Okay. And you don't think the Creator's that way about us? Now, let me ask you something. Is it unconditional? I mean, are you going to do it regardless of how he acts? Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, aren't you going to, you're going to want them, you're going to want to take care of them.
But
Don't give me
Yeah.
that power.
I won't get into, we don't need to get into anything. But remember what I said about what my mother told me. You know, when I was out doing my thing that I shouldn't be doing, she said, "You're always welcome to this home and we will always love you.
always keep you
And we'll always, and if you ever need anything." I remember when I was 18, I went off to college. I was the only one in my family that left home to go to school. And she says, well, she sat me down, she says, we have taught you everything we believe you should know and be. And at this point, since you're leaving, you're on your own. Now, and when you make decisions, and she meant like things like who you're going to marry or where you're going to live or what kind of job, that's your business. We will not interfere. Now, how many parents do that?
Not me.
But
I'm in their business.
but here's what she said
I've
though.
learned it.
But here's what she said though. On the add-on, she said, "But we're always here if you do want to know what we think about anything. Well, if you want our direction and you want our wisdom about anything, that door is always open." Now, doesn't that sound like God?
That was that generation though too.
Yeah.
You're
So,
responsible for yourself.
yes, and she taught us. My brother said, we taught us to be responsible and do it on our own. But my point is this: I want you to get about the Creator. Again, did they ever have to ask you to take care of them? Your children didn't have to ask you to take care of them.
We kind of know.
No, but what I mean is, I'm talking about when they're growing up. They didn't have to come down and say, "Can I have food today? Can I have clothes?" You're getting my point? They didn't come down the stairs and ask you for your provisions, or "Can I sleep here again tonight?" Now, are you getting what I'm getting at here? The basic needs of life. Jesus said, "Why do you worry about what you eat? Why do you worry about what you wear?" Oh. Because your Heavenly Father takes care. Look at the birds and the do you not realize He cares more for you than He does them? So what I'm making point here is, though, I want you to get this. You need to have enough faith to believe the Creator will create your needs without you asking. See, we don't have. There's a scripture that says, "Ask, seek, and find." Right? That's not talking about your basic needs. You should wake up every morning knowing the Creator. Call Him Father. Nothing wrong with that. Just because it used to be a biblical, it doesn't. But that's what I do. And I said, you know, all you should be doing is being thankful that he's taking, or it's taking care of you. Because that creator is doing that. Did you know everything in energy-wise is being sent to you right now? You don't have to ask. It's all coming towards you, in you and through you. All of it. You don't have to ask. All your provisions, all the things you'll ever need. And it's not skimpy either. We're talking about abundance here. We're talking about creator of everything. Does he have any limits?
Yeah, I've been wasting a lot of time.
Now let me, and this is my point. Now think about what worrying about your basic needs, also what state does that put you in?
Stress.
Fear,
Anxiety.
stress, anxiety, and this is what Joe talks about. Guess what happened to the bubble?
It's sort of.
It's gone all the way down to 4 inches, and your immune system is going down. Your digestion's not going to work because what you're worrying about. You're worrying about what I'm going to eat. You're worrying about what I'm going to wear. I'm worrying about having gas for the car. I'm worrying about if the gas is going to go up. I'm worrying about if this is going to go, prices. Oh my God, the stock market might crash. Oh my God,
I don't worry about that.
well, I'm just throwing out all the possibilities that people worry about. See, and this hit me the other day. I can get up worry-free every morning about all of that. Now, why is that good? Other than being,
That's awesome.
I mean,
It's heavenly.
now, but can you believe that though? Can you right now believe that? See, and think about it again. The same creator energy is right now. I thought about this morning. I'm seeing a bird. That's there he is again. He's right there. I'm not talking about the bird. I'm talking about God. And then the cat comes over. There he is again. You know, it's like, and I love this. Have you ever heard of the lost books of the Bible? Okay, Gospel of Thomas. In the splinter of wood, you will find me. Lift up a rock, and I am there. And I'm going, oh my gosh, see. And it's always everything. So that energy is constantly there, and we turn away to worries. We turn away to matter. We turn away to other things instead of realizing this is constant and this is eternal. This is always. This never shuts off. I turn it off.
No, there's nothing you can go to other than knowing he's there. There's nothing you can go to
So-
get from.
No. Now, here's the foundation of that, though, that's really cool. I thought, okay, so if I can wake up every morning, and I don't even have to ask for provisions or anything like that, I can be a creator. Think about if you didn't have anything. Couldn't you follow your passion completely and create? It's like it's turning you loose to finally be able to go into everything. Why don't you? He's drinking. Get him off of there. He's drinking.
It's on.
He wants some zing.
Yeah, just throw him off.
That's the first time I picked him up. Holy cow.
I might have to put him out of the room. He's interfering a little bit with the energy. Distraction. But are you understanding it all? Is it just me that's getting all this? Is it really hitting you?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I know that whenever I'm in a really good mood and state and believing space, it's like all the synchronicities are just like
Flowing. Yes.
You know, sometimes I'll be like, I just can't believe the amount of synchronicities that I had today. It's just, it's ridiculous, but it's awesome. Thank you.
Right. And
you know?
again, I think the important thing is that we don't realize, though, and I'm not heaping never heaping any judgment or, pressure. But what's the first thing you do in the morning when you get out of bed? Because no, seriously. Well, yeah, you might do that.
Oh, I had to.
That's just part of the deal.
You asked.
Yeah.
See,
But-
I don't do that at all. I'm up, ready to rock.
Well, I am most of the time.
But what I really mean is, though, do you begin creating your day? Or do you jump right into the matter out here stuff? See.
I have done it, but I don't do it as often as I should.
Well, how often do you think you should do it? Every
Every
day.
morning.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing I got to thinking about. Joe said this in his part of the talk. I heard him say this, and I thought, oh my gosh, he's really trying to make a point here. He thanked the audience for their attention. And then he got real quiet. He says, did you know that's the most valuable thing you can give anybody? Because that means you are totally focused and giving your total attention. See, and what did he say? Where your attention goes, what else does?
Your mind?
Your energy.
Oh, that's right.
And if it's going somewhere else, then it's not going towards creating. See? It's the most. Do you know how many times people lose their concentration in a minute? Their attention, you know what the average
Guys are different.
attention
Girls are
span
different.
is? Well, this is the average though.
So,
This is the average in a minute. You, in the last minute, you have left me 6 to 10 times. It's a fact. It's what we, and so every once in a while, in a minute, every once in a while he'll go, are you with me? Joe will. He'll go, are you with me? I notice when he speaks, every once in a while he'll go, are you listening? Are you with me? And I know why. Because he already told him why. It's like, but again, that's, you're focusing on, if this is something you need to practice on, see. Don't just assume, well, that's who I am and that's the way it is. No. You have a free will and you can program yourself to have perfect attention on whatever you want. It's not something you can't control. It's something you've been programmed right now. And you've got other things that get your attention. Now, and this is the truth. You know what? If your attention goes there, that means that's more important. Whatever you go with your attention, that's what's most important. Because I remember when I'm sitting down listening to somebody or doing something that's, I'm going, oh my gosh, it's like, I am like this the whole time. And then there are times when I lose my attention. And I know when I listen to these videos, they're an hour and a half long with the three amigos. That's why I listen to them 20 times. Because I'll go through, oh my gosh, I didn't hear that the last time. And then I remember what Joe says. Remember how often you lose your attention? So, I got to thinking about that. The Bible talks about giving your sacrifice of praise and calls it a sacrifice of praise to God. Well, now I understand. Because if you're praising God, aren't you giving Him your attention? See, that means you're sacrificing everything else. Are you following me? If you're putting your attention, knock him off there. I don't want him up around that table. I'm going to have to put him. No, I need him down because that speaker, if it got knocked off, it wouldn't be good. And he's going to get into stuff.
Need some help.
He's a big old boy.
The girl hadn't come out today. And I want you to get this about, so that's how powerful attention is, and that's how meaningful it is to God. He knows that when you are totally, completely putting your attention. Do you ever have notice talk to people and their eyes go over here while you're talking to them and they're not looking at you? And it doesn't mean they're not necessarily listening. But are you good? I'm good at this because I was a teacher. So I had to be good. I know when someone's paying attention. Just because I taught for 35 years and I recognize it, And I know the distractions and I know what can happen. But I know when I'm talking to people, and I'll be with John in places, and when somebody I'm with I've never met before, I can tell, and sometimes I'm like, wow, this person really cares what I'm saying here. They're paying attention. They're like locked in. And they're not just listening. I don't know how many times I'm at home, and we'll be at the dinner table. I'm talking about seeing my brother, and his niece and nephews are here and their children, and I'll literally be talking about something that I wanted to share, and my nephew, his son, son-in-law will literally turn while I'm right in the middle of a sentence. And not think anything about it because he wanted to go over here. Now, how do you feel when somebody does that?
Some of it's comfort.
You mean because they can't, that's true. And
Yeah.
that's true. I agree. But in most of the contexts when this happens, it's not. Everybody's doing it. I'll be talking or I'll say, even my brother does it to me.
I think that's what's wrong with our world though today.
And when he's talking to me, I never turn away. See, I consciously make sure I don't do that. See, I think that's a major human weakness. And you know what? This is the tool you have to sharpen this tool to get done what we're talking about. It's prolonged attention and focus that gets you to that gamma state. That's what gets you there. Because the thoughts that want to take you away from it, see, or activities that you're used to doing all the time, that you are addicted to, can come into your mind. You know. That's why Joe says you have to practice. You have to practice this every day. That's why I'm saying, I'm not putting any pressure on you, but I'm just telling you, this is the way it is. If you want to go all the way with this thing, you have to make a lifelong, everyday commitment. This isn't, like I said, like Yoda, this isn't try. And I'm telling you, though, this is the thing, and like I see Joe get excited about this, and I understand it. For the last, I'm not saying this for bragging or anything, but for the last, and I'm really blessed because I'm retired. And I don't have any money worries. But I also know why I don't. Because I've been believing this stuff for a while now. Just to give you an example. Just the other day when I went home, my brother pulls out this bag, this big, that weighs a ton. I said, what is that? He says, well, I didn't know about all this until your sister did. And I said, what is it? He says, it's all these old coins that Dad had. I didn't know about this. There are early 1800 gold, silver, this big.
1800.
And my sister, I got to look at them. My sister had gone through all of them and categorized them. She put the date, what kind they were. She knew all about it. She died of cancer about 10 years ago. But and I'm going, oh my gosh, there's another blessing. It's out of nowhere. And my brother says, here, go find out what it's worth so we can split it. And I thought, this could be $50,000, $100,000 here.
I'll be careful who you tell that to.
Oh, I know. And I've got to find somebody. Do anybody know? Any of you know anyone I could trust to look at it?
I might.
Okay, but I'm just saying. Yeah, you're right about that because it's like, and that's the other thing. Who can I take it to that won't rip me off?
Well,
You
I
know.
take a few.
Yeah, I'm going to take it different places. Is that what you mean? Yes, and get a compare. And I didn't mean to get off on all that. But my point is, though, I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I don't like the word lucky. Luck is like it just happened to happen. But I also know that I get up every morning and I thank the Creator. You supply all my needs. And I'm thanking for it today. Just start with that. Just get up and say thank you for providing all my needs today. And blessing me and prospering me in all that I do. See, I know so much scripture, it just flows out of me. So I just start spouting it. And I walk around while I'm doing stuff. And I don't have to be sitting. You don't have to be sitting down meditating. When you're walking around going to the bathroom, he don't care if you're on the commode. No.
I know. I'm having
Yeah.
my best.
Yeah,
That's
I've had
right.
a good hour of communication in the bathroom every day. So.
But again, practice it, do it. But like I said, so I'm blessed. But the last couple of weeks, yesterday, I literally felt like I had ascended and was there for 3 or 4 hours. It was just, I couldn't emotionally handle it in a good way. It was like, I'm feeling it again right now. And I noticed that when I do that, and I spend that time and I get there, it's also easy to get back there. It's like in an instant. Wow. And that's when I started seeing the whole creation differently. I was looking at a bird and it made me cry. I was looking at a tree. It was like it's everywhere. And all you want is acknowledgement. That's all you want is acknowledgement. All you want is appreciation. All you want is thanksgiving. And then these insights will come. This is the other thing I want to tell you. When you get in that state, you start downloading. You start channeling. In fact, that was another thing Greg Braden said. He said when you are channeling, you talked about somebody like some of the channels, that you're in the gamma state. See, you're also in that gamma state where all of these chemicals are flowing and all of this, see. So it's like, I'm thinking, wow, how do you tell people about that? How do you get people, it's like you want everybody to get there. You want everybody to experience it. It's like, and in a sense, I understand what Jesus felt when he was trying to, you're trying to get people to, come on, you can do this, your Heavenly Father, and it's like, it was just amazing this whole week, every morning. And now and like I said, physically, it's been a transformation, physically. Like, I can remember back a month or two ago when I wasn't as into it now as I am now. And I have been in the past of my life, but this is not new to me, totally. But I was having my lulls during the day, physically tired. I was actually feeling drained. My workouts weren't going so well. And then I'm going, oh my gosh. I go to work out after this, like after these 3 hours. I'm doing the same exercise and the same weight I've been doing, 10 reps. I did 20. And I'm talking about, I don't do just 10 reps, 1, 2, 3. I go to exhaustion. That 10th rep before was as many as I could possibly do. And yesterday I did 20. I know from lifting for 40 years, that doesn't happen.
We were thinking of you.
To mere mortals.
But you know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen unless something's going on. And so the translation from spiritual to physical is the thing. Greg Braden said that it actually, I'm going to take you through this right now after I get done with this little spiel about Greg. We're going to do his thing. We're going to do something Greg has recommended to get into that state. He said that when you do this and get into it, and you're there, and he didn't say necessarily how long that you're there, but he said once you're there, he said, you literally feel or literally experience in your body, and he started naming off all the things, the telomeres, the oxytocin, and the oxytocin, all this. He says, literally for 6 hours after that. And I thought, okay, he just confirmed why I was lifting, because I was going crazy here, just having this experience, and then I went to work out right afterwards. And you are drinking from the river of life. You're the city. You're the city. Peter says the living stones. And it's even, like I've said before, it's even better when it's more living stones. Because then all of our big bubbles with wings, right? Mm-hmm. Because mine's 9 meters wide right now, I know at least. All right, I can tell. But if that's true and yours is out there, think about how much we're intersecting. Think about the intersection of the spheres. And what that power is sending out into the field. That's how people get healed. And in a sense, that's what you did when you changed the doctor. Once you got off the negative track and wanted to change to, you even specifically said the doctor needs to change or something. You said that. But that's why once you are in that field like that with the right attitude and the right energy, this is how you change the chemicals or matter. This is how you don't rearrange it, you change it. And you walk into a room like this, you're changing the room. The energy just changes everybody because your energy is the highest energy. And I love the term, the Most High God. I just love that term of the description. I even wrote a song called The Most High. And it talks about you can get high by dragging on a doobie. Or you can get high by snorting cocaine. And it's like, why do you waste your time when you could get the most high? And the song goes, most high. It's like, the music goes up with it. It's like, so it's talking about, but in the end, Mary Jane and Jack Daniels might be your only friend. See, if in that respect. So that's some of the lyrics that I wrote with it, but it's a rock song. But anyway, the Most High God, to me, because it is the highest. It's the highest level you can be. And to be God, and I mean that literally, I'm not saying not like God. To be God in the earth, which you all are and can be, do you know how simple it is, though? And I've told you before.
Happy?
Well,
Love?
that's part of it.
Love?
I've quoted the scripture, and you know this one too now, because you know the Bible. 1 John 4 says, those who abide in love
Abide also in me.
abide in God, and God abides in them.
Right.
So the Most High energy is that all, like I was describing how a parent would be. You already know what it feels like to give it. See, you already know what it feels like to give it. So you should know how to experience it then. If you've experienced it, I experienced it for my mother. I know I felt it. I got the experience of it. So then the passing on of that to others by loving them like God. Now, do you know what Jesus? This is really cool. You know what Jesus said? The two most important commandments. You probably know. The two. She knows her Bible. There's two most important commandments. One of them was asking him, teacher, if the law, isn't important, what are we supposed to obey? He says, two things.
I'll be quiet.
You know them, don't you?
I'll know one, I think I know the other.
Well, the one follows the other. Love the Lord your God.
With all your heart
Now listen to this. Say it. Heart
and mind,
and mind
spirit,
and soul
soul, yeah.
and
All your being,
strength.
strength, yeah.
All your strength. But I want you to listen to those words. Heart. What comes from your heart?
Love.
Affection. See, all your affection. And the soul is the mind, will, and emotions. See, all your mind, will, and emotions. And then strength is the body. Who said body? Somebody said body. And then it's your body, see. So it's like, then he said, and your brother as yourself. So there were two. Love the Lord God, all your heart, soul, and mind, and your brother and sister as yourself. See. Because it is the same.
It is the same.
But first, where do you get the love so you can love them? Don't you have to love God with all your affection first? Then you're going to be capable of loving your brother and sister like God loves. So where should you go first? Where you need to set your affections and your heart. We need to learn how to do that first, like I'm talking about in the morning. You need to learn how to set your affections on the Creator first. Then it just flows. Then it becomes. In fact, Joe had an example. He had an example of these people that were businessmen, and they gave them the placebo of the same chemicals. I forgot. They gave a placebo, and then they gave the real stuff. It was the oxytocin or the something that makes you feel the love. Okay, they actually gave them the chemical to make them feel this. And the ones that did that, then they had to take recommendations for something they were going to buy or sell. They're in a business transaction. Well, the ones that took the real oxytocin or the real chemical that really felt this, they got ripped off or something. The guys lied to them, and they still were okay with the guy. They didn't get upset with the guy that ripped them off. So see, when you're in that state of that love that produces all, you're not going to get upset. See? Remember the scripture says love never notices when it's done wrong. Doesn't keep a record of wrongs.
Does not boast.
No. But now, so see, that's your test. Did you get upset because somebody told you? Well, you're not walking in love, then. It's your barometer. It's your barometer. See. So if we start there, and that's what this whole thing is about. Once we learn to start there, at the beginning of our day, and it doesn't have to be an hour if you don't have it. 30 minutes. That's what Joe's people were doing, and their chemical levels of the good stuff was up for 4 or 5 hours after 30 minutes. So they did it again at noon for 30 minutes or so, and it went back all the way real high again. So, is that too much of the Creator to ask of your busy time? Think about it. Think about it.
Well, that's
Think.
what I'm saying, if it's just
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Don't you think?
See, you're working by the sweat of your brow like Adam and Eve had to when they got kicked out of the garden. What were you going to say?
Don't you think that can happen in small increments
Yes,
too?
yes.
Like you can just be in the bathroom looking in the mirror and something totally stupid, and you think, thank God for look.
Yeah, but see, but you shouldn't wait for that, though. See, you shouldn't wait for something to happen.
I know what you're saying, but it helps you to
Get
to
focused
remember.
again and get
Yeah.
focused again.
For me, it's a lot
Right.
of things like that.
I understand.
happen.
Right. And you're right, because I do that too. I'll do small things throughout the day. I write in, because I'm so aware now, I write in my car and do it. I'm constantly doing it when I'm riding in my car. Or you can turn the radio on and be distracted with the news if you want. You know what I'm saying? Or you can have other
Program,
things.
not
you know.
distracted.
Right. Good. Very good. Yeah. So, wouldn't you want to walk in that presence all the time? I'm telling you, once you experience that, and I don't believe I've gotten all the way there yet. I just think I'm tasting it a little bit. But I'm thinking, I can't wait. It's like when you fell in love for the first time. Joe wrote a whole article about that. He said, it's a love affair with the Creator. He said, remember the first time you fell in love and you couldn't wait to wake up the next morning and knowing you're going to get to see him again, or that type of feeling. That's what we're talking about. It's not a ritual. See, again, that's church. That's religion. You can't get it in a ritual. If it's a ritual and not heartfelt, it never works. Now, if it's a ritual and heartfelt, that's okay. But the heartfelt needs to be first. You're coming into it with the attitude, with your heart. And then, yeah. So,
The shaman thing said that ritual is just the movement without the heart. Ceremony is the ritual with the heart.
I like that. I like that. Because that's what I'm doing, a ceremony. I'm dancing like the Native Americans would dance. They danced. I danced around in a circle here and didn't realize it, but that's what they do, don't they? What about the natives in Africa? What did they do? Around the fire. I mean, that's what it is. That's, it's a ritual, but at the same time, it's really supposed to be a ceremony. And I believe those native cultures, it was a ceremony. They know, they knew what they were doing, you know, and just like the guy making it rain, you know. So, are you ready for the method?
We're ready.
Question. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Is anybody else?
Yeah, I like
Yeah, I think I would.
We'll take a break and then do that.
I'll tell you what, I started doing a meditation / prayer thing that a long time ago. And I started with 10 or 15 minutes, and it's an hour and 15 minutes every morning now. And it probably would be longer if I didn't have an 8 o'clock
There you go.
conference call every
There you go.
Because it's like totally, once you get into it, it's totally addicting. And it,
Right kind of addiction.
yeah, it's just, it just feels really good, and it's, you know, I can just keep going all day, and then it's some, you know, I'll kind of do it a little bit throughout the day, but that morning thing, I gotta do it, you know.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm pounding coffee the whole time too. But.
Well, and I do that, and I do that too. I mean, you know, and then I like to stay near my computer because I'm getting these downloads, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I gotta, you know, and I never used to do that. I used to just get them, and now I've realized too that when I get them, I think I told Kelly this, but I usually, because they're downloads in that state of mind, I always remember them. Because remember what we taught about when you have an experience with an elevated emotion, it tags it.
But if you say it out loud, I mean, like,
Well, see,
that's
that's-
what I have to do is like say it.
Oh, but I do that.
As long as there are no people around.
Oh, I'm actually doing that. I'm walking around, I'm doing it all out loud.
And then when you hear yourself,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
seems like.
That's kind of what
But you're also, but you know what else you're doing? You're speaking it into existence. Like Abraham was like God in that he spoke things that were not as though they were. So you're sending the energy, information, and think of the emotional state you're in. So it's going right out into the field, see, to produce the result.
It's open now.
Anybody?
Step outside for just a moment.
Get some fresh air.
Yep.
You know, I have these things that
that
kind
bait
of pull
thing,
me back to spirit.
Absorb some more of this beautiful sun that's
Nice,
so
isn't it?
much better in Florida.
Yeah.
So I used to get in a really big hurry, and sometimes I still do. But now, like, just for example, one day I was trying to go outside with something, I had my hands full, and every time I get to the door, whatever I had that I couldn't see was pushing the door shut.
Right.
And so I'd stand back, and I'd open it, and I'd do it again, and I did it 5 times. And finally, I just gave up and said, okay, God, what is it you want me to know? I mean, and that always brings awareness to me, and I laugh, and I enjoy it, and I continue to think about God being with me in every moment of everything I do. And He can be fun. I find that but it can be fun. It can be,
What
you know,
Mary
the other
calls the
day.
laughing God. He
Yeah.
has a very good sense of humor.
The other day when Charity pulled the book out that I was telling you about, where I saw the portrait that the lady drew that Jesus had
Mm-hmm.
etched into her mind's eye, I saw that, and then I can't remember if it was a book I saw or on TV. I want to think it was a book of some sort or a portrait or something, and they were showing the world, like the universe, and oh my gosh, it had the very same colors in it that the picture on the front of that
Mhm.
book did, that she drew, that was supposed to represent spirit.
Right.
But to me, it's like all the atoms, it's all the
Mhm.
molecules, it's everything that makes up the world, I guess you would say. And so I made a connection, you know, with the universe, with the portrait.
And that's the thing is like, you're right. Once you're in that state, you start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
It's your reticular mass thing that we learned in the brain science, that once your reticular mass is your filter, once you have programmed it to see more, you're seeing things physically, literally, you never saw, even though they were there right in front of you before. See, and you're literally, your perspective has changed. You're seeing it from a different place.
Well, and it was a really emotional moment too when I saw that, you know, just outside the window, that it was just
You know,
there.
one of the things that
there,
happened to
there.
me this morning, when I was just thinking, think about all the beautiful colors in the nature, and I'm thinking, you know, one of my favorite times is fall, because I love the leaves. I love all of those colors, you know. But I was thinking all of the colors that are mixed and matched perfectly. Like but if we tried to match, if we put two of those colors together in a shirt or something, it wouldn't work. Like there'd be something, you know what I'm saying? Like, but nature or God's plan and how He made it knows how to integrate colors perfectly. And then you look at a cat's fur and the design, or you know, like a leopard or and you see all of these perfect formed, and I'm thinking, gosh, how can you not appreciate all of this intricate beauty and, you know, that people go through the world and absolutely, and some live and die and never even notice it. It's like they never even see all of it around them.
Or they pay hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for artwork to hang on their wall and they can just look at it.
That's right. Were you going to say something? I thought you were getting ready to say, you were
I'm
going to
just-
say something.
I ended up meeting a guy on my trip that went with us that is actually basically in search of the same thing that we're doing here.
Oh, really?
I didn't know it until like the third day. And so I was able to enlighten him a little bit. And he's like, well, you think I could join? You know, and I was like, well, I don't know, let me find out. So but we can
Well,
converse a lot.
We'll start
you know,
another
and I-
group maybe to start
and
from the
and
beginning.
that's why I figured out maybe something like after the fact of this one, or, you know, if you started another one, if you wanted to. I
Yeah,
didn't
Alan
know.
has something
But, you
too.
know, I don't know, he knows a lot of different things, and it's kinda on the same, he's,
well, here's the thing. It's the law of attraction. You attracted him.
right,
See, he was thinking and wanting this before he talked to you about it, obviously.
right, right,
There's no accident that you went to Florida together.
right.
Does that make sense to you too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, this is an interesting aspect. When she gets back, we'll do our thing here. Bashar opened my mind up to this and expanded it about, this is really cool. Maybe I should wait for Belinda. According to quantum physics and Bashar, you've heard me say this before, you know there's an infinite number of parallel dimensions, or realities, not dimensions, realities. And I've seen this on current science videos that they believe this. There's an infinite number of versions of all of us. Okay?
He was waiting on me and I was waiting on you.
And
It's games.
throughout your day, throughout your life, throughout the time you're living, all the time. For example, this version of Travis that I'm being right now in the particular parallel reality is vibrating with a specific version of you because we're in the same reality, see. We're vibrating together, so I'm vibrating with the one that wants to know this stuff. Are you following my thing here? But the moment our vibrations change, you get a different version of me. In fact, every billionth of a second, I'm becoming a different version of me according to the vibration that I am. And you're attracting, by your vibration, the version of me.
right, okay, right.
And that is constant. That's billions of times a second. This is happening. And this is another amazing thing about, you're not even moving, really. Consciousness doesn't move.
It's like an elephant.
These are going through you. These realities are going through your consciousness like frames of a movie. You're not moving. But the illusion presented by that process looks like we are. You know what a flip book looks like. That's exactly what's happening to us. So, I'm vibrating right now and getting a certain version of charity out of an infinite numbers of charities because we're vibrating, and she's getting the version of me that she's vibrating with. I found out that's why your doctor changed, see. You got a different version of that doctor because you started vibrating for another one, even though it was the same physically looking doctor. See, our realities, Bashar says that they are as much alike, like, we're shifting all the time. But they can be as alike as only differing in a single particle that you can't even see. That's the only difference. So it looks exactly like, but it just differs as a particle. All the way to the other spectrum, to where it's all different but a single particle. Did that make sense? That's the full range of being only different by a single particle and being totally different except for a single particle. So we're constantly shifting through these realities. So it's the law is you are experiencing the parallel realities that you're vibrating with. So your vibration determines the reality you attract through your consciousness. So if you want to change your reality, now this is a step up from the norm. You don't go out and protest to change it. Are you following me? Do you know there's a reality that already exists where the planet is not being ravaged? There's a reality that already exists that it's not polluted. There's a reality that already exists. Anything you can imagine is a reality. And it's your imagination that takes you there. Because you're not imagining anything new. You're imagining what already exists. When you see in your imagination, you're not creating it. All you're doing is tapping into a reality that already exists. Are you with me?
You just helped me see something.
I saw the light go on.
Oh my God.
So, I was going to talk about this. So, if you think of it in that term, or in those terms, no wonder my life's gotten so good lately. Because, and look at the people I'm surrounded by.
Regularly again.
Yes. And you know what? Remember the word attrition I used earlier? See, the other vibe, it's kind of like Joe's example of the two atoms bonding in, the circles bonding thing. If your attention is no longer vibrating with that, then those people, by attrition, just leave your life. They're gone. They're not there anymore. Or you get another version of them that does fit. Think about that. So you get, because there's an infinite number of versions of every one of us. I just changed to a new one right then. It's happening. Moment by moment by moment by moment. And isn't it ironic that in our creation in the world that we actually have examples of it, like a flip book, or a movie with the frames in film is an example. The frames don't. You hold the frames up, they don't move. They're just different realities. See, but when they go through your projector, see, you're the projector that the light goes through. Your brain is the lens. And you create the neural circuits, see, that grabs the frames out of the field. Are you following all this? Now do you see why it's so important to reprogram? And every one of your neural circuits has a vibration to pick up that reality. Oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about this. But what did you want to say? What you?
Well, when you were talking about that we're not moving at all, it's basically all within here, which you've talked about in the past. And I've remembered that, and that has helped me so much in life. That you can create your movie, that and all that. I love that. But when you were talking about that. That means that, honestly, I have no pain.
That's right.
I have no tiredness.
That's right.
I have no exhaustion.
That's right.
It's all something that I've gathered from this world.
From the programming, from past programming.
From past programming, from other people. People saying when you get older you're going to ache and pain.
Remember what I said about definitions?
And then I have days where I feel fantastic, like I've been outside the last 2 days and I've been in heaven. you know? Doing the things I love
But
to
see,
do.
that also
Creating.
changed your mood. Because sunshine will change your mood.
Oh, definitely.
But we need to get ahead of the game. Don't let the outside circumstances be the only influence. You create in your brain, with your imagination, the sunshine feeling. Are you following me? You create the emotion and feeling in here first.
Are you saying the sunshine's not really there, I just created
No. I'm talking about the effect of
The
the
effect of the
sunshine because it's out here, and in other words, outside circumstances is what makes most people either happy or sad. Changes their moods.
Right. Well, I'm
He's
much
saying
happier
think-
with sunshine.
He's saying go from
I'm saying
inside and go
it should
out
be
instead of the
180.
outside and-
Instead of that being it,
That I should be the one,
you should create the good feeling in here first,
yeah,
and then you get the reality. See?
yeah.
Are you following me?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. I call it the pinball effect. Most people are looking out here bouncing off of every event and circumstance and pinballing off with an emotion reaction to it. And that's the way they live their lives. And they're in their programming just getting beat up. You know, bouncing off of this, bouncing off of that. But what is really cool is I love that version of Kelly. Right there.
But
Because-
you might not like the version in a minute or two. Or you might not be here in another minute.
I
You
love
might
that
not
whatever.
break
That's-
fire.
you're right.
You disappear.
That's true. That's exactly right.
And I get the house.
I don't get Charity said this. Charity actually had first dibs, I think, didn't you?
Well, on the house.
Yeah.
We can share.
We can share.
We'll turn it into the retreat center.
Yeah.
Airbnb for the awakened.
Would you do me a favor and get that top set of papers on the corner of that?
I hate to tell you two this, but he ain't ever going anywhere.
No, that's fine with me. I don't want him to, unless he goes to a more fabulous
No, just the
space,
top
you
one.
know.
Just pass it around.
So, can I
Take
just say
one.
one little thing about
Yeah.
that? Because that's kind of what
I can take it if you want this way. Go ahead.
like whenever you know, in a relationship, living together, and things come up that you don't agree about, and it's like sometimes it's like we can't get to a place of understanding and agreement because we're both stuck in our programs and our day and stuff like that, and so it's like, well, we both, everybody that is close to me knows my bathroom is my like little magic place, and I go up there and I have my sage and everything else in there and crystals and stuff, and the window that I can see the sunrise and the moon a lot of times, and so I just go up there and I'm just like, okay, the reality, this, you know, it's like, okay, this is everything that I know, this circumstance, this situation, this conversation doesn't really, you know, exist. What is the truth about this, you know? And it's like, and then it's like, I'll get to a certain place and I'm like, okay, you know, I can do this. All right, ready. You know, I'll come out and it's like, it's almost like he's changed his full clothing. You know, it's like I come out and it's like, the energy's different. And it's almost like I took an elevator to a different floor with a different, you know, situation. And I'll come out and all of a sudden we're both like, you know, I realized, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, we needed that time, you know, like people say, just get some quiet space and, you know, be able to think a little bit. But it's also just getting back to your balance without all of the emotion that's flying and other people's stuff that's flying. It is just getting back to that truth and coming out and going, okay. And just like with you, you know, the emotion might have been anger,
To begin
talked with love for
Yeah.
Steve.
Right.
And wanting that
Right,
healing.
right.
So, you know, whenever you it doesn't matter what the actual emotion is, as long as your intention is love, you can use the anger for the love, you know, and so that's how I see situations like that happen. It's like you were just using the
She
passion of
transformed
the
it,
anger
and she transformed
for
it.
the love to go,
Right.
this is what I'm looking
Kind of
for.
like the phrase, your faith
You
has
know?
made you whole. Her faith gave her the doctor that was going to deliver what she created for Steve.
Because she knew what she wanted going in there. It wasn't that she wanted to be angry with the doctor because she was going in there with the intention of love and healing for Steve, you know. And so it was just like, I'm mad because this is what I
I'm
need,
looking
you
for
know.
him to rise up and realize that he's been doing the healing all the time. That's what I keep trying to bring him back to.
Which the doctor told him.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? Man, that's
All right,
awesome.
does your first page say, have the 1, 2, 3 on it?
No,
At the
3, 4,
top.
18.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking.
Starts with 3, 4, 18.
You know, I'm talking about the numbers on the side
Yeah.
there. All right. This was something that, you know, I just happened to come, you know, quotes happened to come across. You know what I'm talking about, synchronization here. And Joe, it's like 10-minute video. Joe just explains this, or not Joe, Greg Braden explains this whole thing. Because what have we been looking for?
Direction?
A way to get into this state. Now, you may already have one, and I do, but I'm going to do this one too. It's like there are many, many different modes and modalities to get into this state. The important thing is what? Get in the, yeah. All right. But at the top, he talks about the neurites, and there are 40,000 cells in our hearts, brain cells. Okay? And when they harmonize the heart with the brain, that's the kundalini going up, the energy that I explained. Remember earlier when I talked about it and how it goes through your vagus nerve and your spine, and actually goes through your thalamic. It's a door. Joe talks about in the base of your brain, goes all the way up and hits your pineal gland, which starts secreting all of these chemicals, and one of them is hallucinatory, like the DMT. Is that right? Yeah. And will cause you to start seeing things you've never seen before, and again, you've tapped into the realm of all realities and possibilities, and you're seeing ones you never even thought possible. Because you're not limited anymore. See, you're out of your limited thinking, and you've gone through the door. Now you're into this kundalini state, and he says this will take you into that. What we're getting ready to look at here. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
Isn't the pineal gland the one that has all of the same chemical makeup or same like kind of structure of the eye, except for it's
Yeah.
missing just like one thing?
Yeah.
And so it's
supposed to be our
it's supposed
inner
to be
eye.
like your inner eye,
Inner eye.
but it's physically our inner eye.
Do you know what?
Not just
In a lot of people, though, it's
spiritually.
You said the same, you just said the same thing a while ago.
yeah, I did.
How everything and then one particle makes it different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I just read that.
So
like
we are
2 weeks ago.
reflecting our outside with our inside.
Well, we're experiencing outside what we are just reflecting from inside, right?
What I'm
Sorry, is
saying
that
is
what
we
you're
have,
saying?
we have a mirror of this outside, inside. So it's like we have our body is the same on both sides. It's like a reflection.
I know what you're talking about.
Or it's more like a projection outside. It's more like a projection, right? Because it's the past. It's not at the same
Well, yeah,
time.
no, it's not exact, but the reflection, well, I don't know, maybe it's semantics, but as far as it works, yes, this is the reflection,
Right.
Right here.
We have the same thing on the inside.
which you see
Which
out here.
reflects- which
That's
reflects
yes,
the
yes.
inside.
And that's what she's,
Yes.
it's the same thing in so many words, yes.
Maybe it's not.
But
Alright.
I have also heard that in most people, the pineal gland, though, has been calcified. It's because they never tap into it. So it's gotten hard and calcified. Doesn't mean you can't ever fix that. But that's why they're so stuck. See, what was that?
The fluoride is supposed to be a chemical that renders that.
Exactly.
Actually being able to
Exactly.
process.
And that's what I have heard now that you say that fluoride does that.
Yeah, and that's why, actually, like Europe and places like that, and this is one of the things me and Jeremy was talking about, is they're not allowing
Not anymore.
fluoride to be put in our water anymore, but the United States,
I think we've actually increased the amount of
yeah.
Well, I mean, I filter all mine out.
It
But,
is interesting you brought that up. We talked about that in our Sunday school this morning, and Steve, shared that Borden, a town, and there's another area, does not have fluoride in it anymore. I said, what about me on Greenville Road, or on Borden Greenville Road? And he said, no, you still have the fluoride there.
But that's why I filter all
And
mine.
Ronnie says, no, we don't. And he he said, yes, you do. He says, no, we filter ours out.
Okay, so I just want to say something about that, because that's something that my kind of, not really spiritual crisis, spiritual evolution has gone to, is that there can be a physical cause for every spiritual crisis. There can be a chemical cause. So if you look at fluoride, this conspiracy of fluoride to dumb us down, to keep us from experiencing health in all ways, shapes, and forms. But if you look at it from the spiritual is always the more powerful. If you pray over your, or set intention over any water.
You're right. I
mean,
agree.
I personally couldn't change my belief systems to drink something that looks gross or smells gross. But if it is just water from the tap and you bless it, they say if your belief is strong enough, it won't matter whether it has fluoride in it or not, that it will not even touch your physical body. So it's deciding which battles that you want to, or not, or which games you want to
Your belief.
play.
Your personal belief.
From that, yeah, from which belief system. Like me, I tackle certain things on the physical level because it's harder to spiritually in those certain areas for me right now. But then there's other areas that are more physical, but I am working on them on the spiritual level because that's where I see that I have a better hold on them.
Well, the very concept we've talked about before is like when Paul, you know, he said you can drink any deadly poison and it will not harm you. Or there's a scripture where it talks about him getting bitten by a poisonous snake and he just shakes it off. And because he was in that state, well, it's what we talked about before. If you're more spiritual than matter, see, if you're more wave than particle, you supersede physical Newtonian laws. Just like Jesus walked on water. Or Jesus multiplies food or makes water he changed the chemicals, water into wine. We have that ability. But not when you're not when you're more matter than you are spiritual, though. So when you do that prayer, I do that to everything I eat. This morning I laid my hands on because I never know. It says it's all organic. It says it's all this and that. But I go ahead and I put my hands on it, and I literally send God's transforming energy. And I say, this is transformed into nutrition that will feed my body and make it healthy. I just felt it, as I said. It's like, and I send that energy into that. And if there is any, I can supersede that. I know that, and I believe that. But, and she's right, that's what she's talking about. Do you know that was the real reason we were supposed to pray before we ate? It wasn't just to say thanks for the food. No, you were supposed to be transforming the molecules of the food to make it acceptable to eat.
And that's why we've got more
That's why,
GI issues.
yeah. But that's what it was for. The whole thing was to send energy into God's energy into to make sure it was in the right form for your body to consume and get healthy from it. So, yes, and you can do that if you have the faith, if you believe you have that power.
But it's stuff like this that helps you get to that
right.
point.
Well,
you know?
I mean, it's like
and
I said.
It's not like you can just say, "Oh, I'm not worried about fluoride anymore." It's like
every one of us are potential gods walking. We're potential gods walking around, and we can manipulate the molecules of this realm. And you're operating from the right place. You're in charge, not this. In fact, you already are and don't know it. See, you're already creating all this already. All right, let's look at I got to the brain cells, didn't I? And anyway, the point is, this method, and he got this from traveling the world, like in different cultures, because Greg's been, he's been everywhere, and with shamans and everywhere. But he kind of picked all this up, and he said that one thing that they do is they touch their heart center to put your awareness there first. Now, in a little bit, when I get through, if I get through all this, I'm going to do a song, and I'm going to have you all close your eyes. Now, this is a song that just, I hope I can get through it because it makes me emotional. But this is one I start with in the morning. And you haven't heard this yet. It's a different one than I played for you at Cherries. And so I'm going to have you get in position here after we go through this. And you'll notice he say slow breathing for 5 seconds in and out. Well, have you ever noticed that's what people do when they meditate? The breath is one of the things you start focusing on. And he says it automatically will calm you. Instead of breathing your normal pace, take a deep breath in for 5 seconds, blow it out for 5 seconds. See, it also takes your focus out of the realm of senses. And what are you focusing on? Your breath. Okay. And you're touching your heart, and you'll do that, and just concentrate on breathing. And he says, as long as you're comfortable, make it a deeper breath. You know, you don't have to go. We don't want you breathing so deeply that you feel like you're trying to hold your breath, you know, to where you're struggling. But we want you to do it longer than normal. 5 seconds, I think you'll be able to do. And he says your body will automatically go into a no stress mode. If you do this, it will go into a no stress. Then you create a feeling in your heart, care for anyone, appreciation of any type, gratitude for anything, compassion. And that can be in any form. Like, can you all create that on your own? Can you create the feeling of compassion and care? Like when we do this, are you going to be able to do that? Okay. Some people, you know, I can think about my mother and I'm there. You know, I don't have to, but that's one method I could use if I needed to. So that's just an example. If you need something like that, I'll tell you something that makes me emotional is freaking animals, cats. Like, all I have to do is think about one of my cats I lost, you know, in my past. Because it's like, I don't know why I have such a connection to animals.
They were your kids too.
Yeah. But it's amazing. Sometimes I feel more emotional about them than I do humans. I don't know why. But anyway.
They have unconditional love.
Anyway, find a way to create that. And I'm going to try to do this with the song. I'm going to try to take you into that with the song too. And then it says this will harmonize your brain and heart and bring you into the gamma state. This is one method. Now, the other thing I want you to read is what Bruce says down here. Now, also, remember all the chemicals I said you were releasing earlier? I was just talking about this. Look right below there. This is what he said chemically happens. 1,300 beneficial biochemical reactions start happening. All positive, good stuff. Your telomeres, you know, start receiving the telomerase and start increasing in length. Your immune system, all that stuff. And I realized this and we got this before, but now he says the same thing I've been telling you. I just heard him say this in this video. Now the next thing is Bruce Lipton's method, which you can do at the same time. And I actually learned this. Have you ever heard of the method Psych K? Were you around when we did that?
I went.
I wasn't here, but I know about it, and I've got the book and Mom
I thought
did
you
it.
did.
Yeah.
Well, and I got certified in it, but I don't remember it all now because it's been so long. But one of the things, we learned this in that. If you sit with your legs crossed, and see, that's what meditators do anyway, don't they? They cross their legs, okay? And it can be any way you want to cross them. It doesn't. See, here's what happens. Your right leg is connected to your left brain. And your left leg is connected to your right brain. So the moment you cross this center line, you've crossed over to the other brain. And what you're doing is you're uniting the two hemispheres, which is what you want.
Which is why it's
You want the synchronization of the left and right brain together instead of fighting. You want wholeness instead of separation, see. And you also, I think we crossed our arms like this, didn't we?
From what I remember, I know this is going too far, I think we tested to see which
Which
one
one was-
was the stronger.
But actually,
And once we knew, then we.
but actually, you know that by just without constantly thinking, cross
I
them.
think so too.
That's the stronger one's on top always if you just do it without thinking or what's most comfortable. This is the way I always do it. I can tell. This is the way I feel comfortable. And the same thing about your arms. You can cross them. I guess you can just cross them, or you can do this, and that again will put your main arm. My dominant one's on top. Or I remember I thought we did this in this, didn't we? Didn't we?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how we did that.
And then we held them up here, I think. Now you can put that on your heart,
Or
see.
how we did it.
I thought we started like this, out here. And then brought it in like this.
Yeah. Got it.
Now again, if that is painful or uncomfortable, you don't want to do it. It's not absolutely necessary.
It wasn't painful, just crunched.
But you know what I mean? We don't want your brain going to
Just get it comfortable.
getting distracted by the feeling you're getting because you don't feel comfortable. But the point is you need to cross your arms too somehow so that you're crossing hemispheres there. And this is, you could hold your, like whatever's comfortable, but the thing is, I want to also do the first step of what Greg said. I want you touching your heart some way. So you got to cross hemispheres. You could do it like this. You know, you can have one hand over your heart like this. However you want to do it. Isn't it ironic too that when we make pledges, we put our hand over our heart?
Goes far, far.
And that's what he says because you're putting your attention to that heart center where all the power is. See? This is where that powerful big field comes from that goes out 9 meters. This is where all the love chemicals get started. All that power gets started right
Right.
there.
I've read a couple things and then put some things together too. That's why Parkinson's patients are having such amazing results with kickboxing and
Oh, really?
touching, because they're doing that
Crossing
and
the
it's in the
hemispheres.
level of the heart, so they are releasing all the emotion that is causing,
Right.
or some of the emotion that's causing the
So
physical.
they're starting it, like getting it started up. So if you're comfortable, the only thing I don't like is I feel like I'm having to hold this in a sense that I'm not relaxed. So that's why I like this. If I can do this, I can just sit here like this and my fingers are holding and I'm just totally relaxed. Now if you can do that, fine. You just need to be comfortable and you need to be crossed in both places. And then think about your heart. You know, I like having this, I'm right. He says the sternum is okay if you're on the sternum. Y'all know what that is, right? Okay. That's the middle bone there in your chest there. Now, once you get here, I'm going to sing a song. I don't know about you, but I am feeling more relaxed already.
I do.
Are you feeling it? I'm feeling real relaxed, and I'm not even trying to. Just because I cross my legs and hands.
Is this something we should close our eyes?
I'm going to have you do that in a second here. Now, I don't want you talking, and I don't want you to open your eyes. This is really you going inside. So you need to shut your eyes and relax as much as possible. Now start your breathing. 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out if you can. Just relaxed. Just focus on your breathing. Now I want you to just picture, stay in your mode, keep your breathing. I want you to envision yourself. I'm going to lead you here in a meditation. I want you to see your body floating in an ocean of light. Just carrying you along. Just feel its warmth and compassion all around you. Feel it melting you. Melting your body back into the wave. Totally relaxed. Just let the waves carry you. And now feel that love and compassion coming from your Creator, coming from you. Feel that feeling that you have for someone you love. Can even be a pet, anything. But fall into that compassionate energy. And actually breathe it in with your breath and release it. Feel it from your heart center. Just surrender. Let go. You know you can. Just let it flow through you. Have that feeling that everything you need is there. Sense the compassion and love that makes everything okay. Again, feel it from your heart center. Feel it coming into your heart when you breathe in. And feel it going out into the field, out into the waves as you breathe out. Now this is really you going from particle back into the wave. yourself disappearing in the waves of the ocean and reappearing again. Which each breath in and each breath out. Now I want you to begin to thank the Creator, thank the All in All. Start showing appreciation. Feeling it from your heart. Thanksgiving and appreciation. Now I want you to send that feeling of love and compassion, send it to someone right now. Send it to someone who needs it. See them in your mind's eye. See them surrounded by that light that you're sending, by that energy. Feel it. Feel the appreciation for your Creator and send it to one you love. Someone that needs your compassion. And now come back to the Creator. Feel His loving embrace with all that light around you, all that loving energy, actually penetrating every particle and atom of what you are, lifting you up, filling you with its presence. Okay. You can open your eyes when you're ready. How did we feel?
Peaceful.
Was it an experience at all, or?
I don't think anybody wants to say it.
I apologize for my singing. I haven't heard sung that song in a while.
Oh, so you had a great voice.
Might need to turn the music volume.
That's what I was going to say.
Just
It was a little high.
Because I couldn't hear some of your words.
So, did you like the first song that I sang?
Loved it.
I usually can't sing it without crying. That's the one I sing. I sing it when I start in the morning.
Were you standing?
No.
To me, I visualized you standing.
Well, and I should have. I'd have been
No,
more.
I mean, it's.
No, I mean I would have been more comfortable singing. I was kind of closed. You know, I needed to be. Actually, when I was going to do it, I was going to stand up there and do it, so it was more. But I didn't know if you could hear me. Could you hear me okay though? Okay. So did we get there at all? No? You did or no? Yes? I thought that. You looked like you did.
Can I ask the question, what do you call and get there?
Well, it's going to be different for everybody.
Okay.
For me, it makes me emotional. Like at the end of this one, it was getting me at this song. Did you like the music I played? This last stuff. I only played three songs. This is and I want you to look at the titles of of all these songs. You talk about perfect. It's a prelude to infinity. Coming home. Okay, that's what we're actually doing. And then it's the longing, and then experiencing infinite beauty, and then dreaming. It's when you listen. I listen to the whole thing. It just takes you there. Tranquility, and then beyond infinity, and touching softness, and then it brings you back to the return. We only listened to the last two, I think, or three maybe. Yeah, I think we went from beyond infinity to the return. And that's the other thing. We're all different. It takes different modalities, music-wise, probably. That really does it for me. That, to me, it's orchestra. It's orchestral with the background vocals of the female. You know, just going. It's like angels to me. It's just, and I don't know if that's just my wiring, but it does it for me. So, did you send to somebody?
Can't wait till I get home.
Well, that was just a little, precursor practice. I think we'll get used to each other and used to how we do it. Are you okay with me the way I led it, vocally?
Mm-hmm.
Can you be honest about it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Seriously, be honest. Because I can do more of that. Did I do enough? And then but I like to let you go, like get you there, let you go, but I'm just trying to go how I'm led, and I've never done this. That's the first time I've ever done that. So but I'm trying to be in touch so I can do what comes to me to help you. Does that make sense? I like visualizing, and that's probably because of what I spoke. I like seeing myself going particle, my body turning into particles, and then disappearing into the ocean wave. And becoming one with it, and then coming back out again, like what's actually happening right now. See, that's what you're doing right now. You're going from wave to particle a billion times a second. And think about it. All the things that signify that, the heartbeat going, your breath going, I mean, it's all wave, in and out, wave, particle. You know, it's consciousness breathing. You know, breathing into existence and then back into the wave and then breathing into existence. That's, I don't know, that's kind of does it for me. So that's kind of why I described it that way.
I went to the Dead Sea
Did you?
when I went to Israel, and that's where I went first. But then I went from there to the ocean because the waves weren't there. There were no waves.
Right.
And then it was just the waves and kept going back and forth between the Dead Sea and that, you know, basically ridding myself of things that I don't
That's a good
need. It's
metaphor.
really cool.
Baptize, neutralize, baptize, neutralize.
Well, it's kind of like you're leaving what you want dead in the Dead Sea, and then you're going back to the waves, which is living.
And that's what they believe when you go there. You just
Yeah.
leave what you don't